And so they would have identified the Nigerian businesses that they need to be on that trip. They would have identified the Chinese businesses that will be meeting with them at that particular meeting, and then find, where there can be some kind of marriage and some matchmaking that can be done that shows, you guys could easily work together. If that was done, then it will be a very effective meeting. So the meeting in China would just be a sort of a fait accompli, just trying to conclude, the work that has been done prior to the China trip. But if that was not done, then the meeting in China will probably just be a curtain raiser, just a beginning, because you can't really achieve much in a 1 hour, 2 hour meeting. What you can do is just make introductions. But if a lot of preliminary work was done prior to, which we didn't hear about, so I'm not so sure that they did that, then it means that you will be able to conclude transactions on the day of the meeting.
We're trying to keep focus on this, the swap deal, because not a lot of information is out there yet, because the last time we spoke to the presidential spokesperson, he said some of them are still under negotiation. From the information you have, are you impressed so far?
Oh, okay. Well, with the swap deal, what impresses me or does not impress me, or what surprises me, is the way Nigerians have taken sides on both sides of the aisle, and we get too excited over nothing. Why I say that is because for several reasons. One is that as far as the Nigerian importers are concerned, so Nigerian importers who are importing from China, they need to buy products from Chinese companies. They're buying these products from private Chinese companies. Okay, so manufacturers of goods and services. Now, in my experience, and I'm sure nobody will be able to fault this, most Chinese companies, if not all, would prefer to earn the US dollar when they sell their products internationally. It's like you selling cocoa or groundnut or cashew nut, and then you're selling it to Ghana, and then all of a sudden somebody in Ghana says, I'm paying you in naira, I'm not paying you in dollar. You're gonna feel a bit step back, because you need also to buy your own inputs and raw materials, and you can only do it with foreign exchange. So whether the private Chinese companies will accept the yuan from the private Nigerian companies, that remains to be seen.
But they had that agreement with, I think, about 30 countries, and it's working.
It's working on a government to government. That's the difference. Nigerian government can sell its crude to the Chinese.
Don't we like to earn in dollars as well?
We like to earn in dollars as well, so I don't know how they're going to play that out, because that would actually give us there's going to be a drop in our dollar earning if we start earning in naira, because the swap means that they take naira and we take yuan. So if we sell them crude, they're not going to pay us in naira.
An interesting perspective you just opened up here now, because so many young Nigerians and even individuals who have business, dealings with the average Chinese definitely will be having this kind of problems. Are there ways such agreements can really come into effect to the extent that these people still can do business on maybe the swap, following the swap policy?
Well, I think that I understand your question very well. The Nigerian businessman is going to be in a dilemma. He wants to buy his goods from his Chinese supplier, and he's now telling the Chinese supplier, I'm paying you in yen, quote me in yen. Chinese supplier says, I want US dollars, and I want you to pay it into my New York bank, and so that's going to be an issue. I'm not so sure the Chinese government can compel their private companies to accept goods that have been exported to be paid in yen. I don't know whether they have such policies in place to compel their private companies to accept yuan as payment as opposed to the US dollar. So that remains to be seen. Now, they have done these swap deals with many countries. I think there are about 33 countries so far. And I think that what they have done in those jurisdictions is they're trying to make their currency, the yuan, as convertible as possible. Okay, so most of these transactions, most of these deals have been done with the central banks of those countries. Now, making it as convertible as possible, meaning that central banks now have holdings in those currencies. Now, the next question is, if they've done that over the years, why are the major trades in China still being done in US dollars? So those questions, I think, if the Chinese wants to build on the yen as they clearly do, it's going to take tremendous amount of time and effort, so much so that it will probably pass our own lifetime.
I think your realist posture now is something that I think that the government didn't consider, because if this swap deal is what may just be between governments or both countries, and they really can't force anyone to accept it in the market, in the open market amongst maybe business people, it doesn't suit anyone pretty well. The way
it's a legitimate issue which has to be addressed. These are private companies, and I want to put myself in the shoes. I'm a realistic person, and I'm an accurate thinker.
That's what I noticed, because I have seen so many young Nigerians who do businesses, do business with the ordinary Chinese person. Some sit here, they go online. Even young ladies who buy hairs and so many other things.
Exactly.
So if the man at the other end is telling you, hey, wait, I need this thing in the US dollars, then you just have to go source it.
Precisely. And that's exactly what I have experienced. I used to be a manufacturer of mobile phones, and they will not even accept pounds. They won't accept euro. They only want US dollars. And this is the case in, I would say, 99.9% of all imports transactions. So getting the yen in the Central Bank of Nigeria and then asking our traders to buy yen, I don't know how you're going to get the Chinese suppliers.
So it's more or less like a deal for tourists and
for the federal government.
It's a government deal for now.
Government.
It's clearly a government deal for now, because I don't think the government can compel their people to accept the yuan.
It's the Chinese government. I mean, China doesn't. It won't smile at businesses that would want to. If China is looking for dominance, for instance, and one of the things it's hoping that governments across the world will do is also have some of its currency as their forex reserves, and then some companies in China are saying no, you won't accept the currency that is their currency. Don't you think that the Chinese government will have a problem with that?
Well, I think that, don't get me wrong, nobody's going to say they won't accept, because yen is their currency, so they can't come out and say that, especially with the kind of hard government that they have. So you're right. But the truth of the matter is that they also have inputs that they need to buy and source from around the world for their products. And you buy those products in US dollars. So the question is, do they take their payment in yuan and then convert it back to dollars? Who takes that loss? Because they're going to need to buy
You think they'll be running at a loss?
Well, it depends.
Shouldn't we be paying for, cost of doing business, whatever it will cost?
See, business is a commercial enterprise. So everything is going to be based on how much you make at the end of the day. What is the return? With government, it doesn't matter. Okay, so that's why governments can fix exchange rates. It doesn't matter to them, because who's losing. The governments, they declare surplus or deficit. They don't declare